everybody, and welcome back to the I Don't Know Running podcast, where we share our experiences that make running fun and sometimes not so fun. I'm Lewis, and I'm a self-admitted lazy ultra runner.
But you're not a lazy ultra runner anymore. Maybe the ultra part, but you've been running, so you can't say lazy anymore.
Well, I'm still lazy.
Wow.
Maybe not.
I mean,
running.
we don't talk about your looks, so there's that. And I'm Mitch, and we are serving some really good coffee today.
Yeah. You brought your own.
Yeah.
Your own in a clear bottle.
Yeah. It's brown. It's brown liquid.
The bottle's clear, I should say. Yeah, the liquid is not. It is a brown, bourbonish looking type liquid even.
Yeah. So we're changing the podcast. We're going to talk about, give reviews on bourbon.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you got asked about that, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
and it was just as I was walking in here, Jim said something to me like, hey, when are we going to do the podcast and talk about...
Yeah, we need to have him on, honestly. Yeah. We really do. We just need to line it up because I'd love to talk about the races, some of the races he's done and trained for. I remember one specifically. He went down He had basically heat stroke, I believe.
Oh, I just remember him pacing Kalamazoo and puking in that room. I called him out on that today too.
Oh, that's right.
Remember that?
Yes.
He might have had like heat issues then too. I don't know.
I think it was the same year. It was, well, I don't remember how it all lined up, but yeah, it was a Yankee Springs one.
Oh.
And he was in the med tech.
Oh, wow.
When I don't remember, at some point I saw him in there, and he had a rough go of it.
We've all been there.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't make it better. We don't get smarter, it seems like.
No, we just keep on going. Yeah, I mean, you look at, man, I swear there's no reason I shouldn't have been in a med tech for that same reason at Boston that in 2012, same thing. So yeah, we've definitely all been there. My race today, my run today was far from having any heat stroke, that's for sure.
It was freaking cold.
It was chilly. Probably not as chilly as when you went out. Mine was like 23 or something like that.
I tell you though, it snowed yesterday, and it was warmer. The temperature was actually warmer all day than it's been. But I was cold all day. I think it's a freaking snow.
Yeah.
That's what gets me.
I thought you were going to say it created a mess on running surfaces.
It did. So I know you want to talk about yours. It made me think about my run yesterday. I started out at 4:30 in the morning. And it smelled like rain. Like it was just like...
I saw your post. It was crazy. What did you say? Well, that went sideways quick or something like that.
Quickly.
Escalated.
It did. So and it was like a couple drops, and it looked like it was almost kind of rain a little bit. And then Carl and I started out, and it's like, oh, it's snowing. And then pretty soon it hurts your face. Like it's coming down, and it's like hitting you in the face, and it hurts. And I think...
It was windy, too.
It
No?
was.
Okay, that's what I thought.
So 3 miles in, the road's covered. That fast. 4 miles in, I do this little loop around this neighborhood and come out. My tracks were covered by the time I came out of there.
Wow.
And then coming down, and then as we came down the last part, so Carl was doing a different workout. He was doing progression interval. So he was speeding up within the interval.
Yep.
So on his cool down, we caught up with each other again. He's like, and I said something about, I wonder if my wife ran. And he's like, man, if we would have started now, we probably wouldn't have ran. And I was like, that's true, because it was getting slippery and nasty. So as we come down, we kind of run through this little dip or little valley that's right by it used to be muck farms, but sod farms. And it's like, this is not a good time. Like it's getting cold. I didn't wear enough, for gloves. I was a little underdressed. I'm like, man, that changed quick.
Yeah.
But
yeah, we're back into February, it seems.
Yeah. I was done with winter.
I know. I went out. I'm trying to think when I went out yesterday. I think I just went out for a quick run. Oh, I waited until Oh yeah, I waited until evening.
But then the roads were clear, but the sidewalks were not.
Yeah, and I always run bike path because I have substantial bike path around me. And it was ugly. It was not fun because people had walked on it, which that's fine. They can. But in the process, it melts and freezes. And that creates just ankle turners. And the plow had obviously plowed crap all over the path. So it wasn't a fun run. But all that to say then today, my whole goal this week was to get out and get a long run in. I wanted 14 to 16, something like that. And as it turned out, I felt my legs a little bit at the end of the day yesterday. I was like, I can feel them, working them out. And I thought, I don't have to run today, as in today.
It's funny how we say that to ourselves, but then Mark said that this morning. He didn't run one day and he was beating himself up. I was like, sounds familiar.
Well, I'm just focused on being healthy. And so and for me, I went, you know what? I felt my legs yesterday. I do not have to run today.
But you're a sissy if you don't.
No, not at all. Today could have been a rest day, 100%.
Could have been.
And the reason being is because I had tomorrow, which is a day I can run long as well. So I had 2 days to run long. And I was doing some stuff because today is an off day for me from work. And so I was down here just kind of farting around and I was really processing like the paths are crap and the temperature is going to go down tomorrow, between today and tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
It gets colder tomorrow. So I'm sitting here going, it's not going to get any better. There's no reason to wait till tomorrow to do it. Like if it was going to be 40.
For me, my problem is a lot of times if I think I'm going to wait until tomorrow and then I'm going to be even
harder tomorrow to get out.
Yeah.
If it was going to be 40, tomorrow, I'll go out tomorrow.
But then you sleep in and drink coffee.
No, because I don't mind getting out in the middle of the day. Like it's not a big deal to me to get my runs in that way. And I do seek out nice weather. So if it was 40 tomorrow or, sunny.
You're definitely a fair weather runner.
Maybe. I don't know. But I was sitting here going, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to go out there and get it in today. So got changed and went out and started my run. And sure enough, the first mile, it was just a disaster. Like the paths they're
all crusty.
Garbage. They're worse than.
They're crusty because it was a crappy, heavy, wet snow and it froze. And people walked on it again, fine and dandy. Like I'm glad people are out, but it just creates a mess. But they should take your run into account when they're walking on those trails.
Right. Leave a path or shovel a path for them.
Do something.
If you're just going to walk it, shovel it.
Right. I agree.
So so I thought about this and I thought, man, where there is snow, snow is fine. If you ran on the snow, it was fine.
Right.
But where there were tracks or partially melted.
Black ice.
It was worse than running on trails. It was harder on my joints and ligaments and all the muscles that help balance you and all that than running on the trails in the summer.
I had to walk the dog out last night. The puppy.
Did you go down?
No, but I walked out in the driveway and he does this as we settle down and start watching TV. The other dog just goes and stands by the door and looks at you and tries to make you feel guilty. The puppy goes over there and stands there and tries to make you feel guilty. But if you don't react within 5 minutes, he starts barking at you. So everybody fights to see who's going to walk him out, especially when it's cold. And I lost, and I walk out there with him. I know he doesn't have to go. He's screwing around. He's running around in circles, and I'm like, so I walk out in the driveway, and there's black ice. I almost went down. I'm like, it's your fault. I try to make him feel bad about it, but he didn't.
Well, I was happy. I got out, but here's the thing. 2 or 3 things I wanted to talk about this run. Number one, I was a 16 miler. That was my plan. I had the route all planned. And for about 11 and a half miles, I had to pee. For the first 11, for whatever reason, when I left here, and here's the thing, you know the route.
It's warm. You got to be able to run and pee.
No, I ain't doing that. No. And so the route, I went this way and then I head towards Drenthe and then went to Friesland.
Yep.
And it's wide open. Like there's nowhere. There's no woods. There's no nothing.
I know in the summer, at least there's corn because I've used that corn.
There's corn and beans.
Yeah.
You've used beans before too.
I'm not that shy.
No. Well, I thought, you know what? It's not bad. But here's the deal. I'm doing 16 miles. So I took water and I thought, I can't drink the water because it's just going to have to make me pee more. So
and then it'll freeze anyway. So
yeah, well, and so it wasn't bad, but I got out and I turned around and came back. And as soon as I hit the Upper Mac Trails area, thought I'm going to jump into the woods there. I'm going to pee. Jumped in the woods, peed, jumped back out. Oh my goodness, I feel so much better. Took a drink of water.
And then had to pee again.
No, I was good to go. But I took off, and for the rest of the run, the last 4 miles was a disaster zone because of the footing.
Oh, yeah.
It's that long uphill, icy.
Yeah.
Prior to that, I thought about you because prior to that, there were 2 spots where I'm running along, feeling good, and I hit like one spot was like caught it quick enough. I was like dancing my way across it. It was like straight up frozen water on the path.
That's called ice.
Yeah. Ice. Some call it ice. I say frozen water. It was frozen water. Some say ice on the path. And then the next spot, I didn't catch it quick enough. And so it was one of those deals
where you're like, kind of frozen water?
Same type of frozen water.
Or black ice?
Well, here's the thing. It wasn't all ice because you could see it was actually water underneath it.
Yeah.
Like it froze in the top enough.
You just got to stomp on it and then you'd be fine.
Well, but it was frozen enough. Like it literally was frozen enough. And so I'm going, and it's one of those deals that was going into like this little curve. Oh. It was just like on a road where you're like, I can't turn.
Yeah. That scares the crap out of me.
So I did that, and I thought about you there because I was too late when I noticed it. And I was like, literally like in your car where you're like, uh-oh, can't stop now. It was like that. But anyway, I kept it upright. But man, the last 4 miles it sucked. Like the entire run.
It doesn't make it fun.
It was not fun.
Well, you're glad you got it done today instead of waiting.
Super glad I got it done. I have shoes for those that are watching.
Did you wear your?
I wore them.
The jangled shoes.
I wore them, and
they suck.
There's a review coming. Spoiler alert. I love them. They're great, but there are a couple of things I'm not super a fan of. But number one, they don't have great ice traction. Like
yeah, but yeah,
I say that jokingly.
Right.
No shoes do, but there are those Saucony
put spikes on them.
Trail
shoes help a little bit, but on ice, nothing helps.
Saucony has that pair of
because Terrence tells me Newtons are good for that too, but I haven't tried out Newtons.
Saucony has a specific ice shoe. The tread is actually meant to stick to ice.
I'm gonna buy them.
They're the what's the trail shoe? I ran in them for man, I cannot think of them. Anyway, their trail shoe, they have a specific ice tread that it's proven that like that tread that they're putting on there sticks to ice. So they are a good shoe for that specifically.
Well, Scav said in the group text last night, or it was either yesterday or today, that it's the 2-year anniversary where I fell in front of him and got a black eye. So
it's been 2 years since you fell. Oh, since you got the black eye.
Well, I don't think I've fallen.
I think you've fallen.
I don't think I've fallen on the snow since then. I know I've fallen for other dumb reasons.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so there's a review coming on those. But yeah, I do like them. They are nice. They felt great today. And Yeah, I'll talk about it in the review. But anyway, super happy with the
Tell
run.
us more.
No, super happy with the run. Got it in, but I did want to point out the ice things, thinking about you. And then, man, just for 11 and a half miles having to pee and couldn't. And then I did, and I felt great, and I was ready to go and couldn't because of the footing. But I think that was it on the run.
That makes me think of the race. Did you do, that came up in my memories too. What was it in Mount Pleasant, that race?
Yeah.
Did you do the icy where the whole course was nothing but glare ice?
Yeah. Yeah. We've talked about that in one of our first podcasts. Yeah, we both did that. We didn't know each other then.
Yeah, I know who you were, I think, and that was about it.
Yeah, and we were there with, Jason had went.
And I knew Jason better than you at that point.
Yep.
Mindy was there, I believe.
Maybe.
I think she was.
Maybe. Yeah. Boy.
But it's been a while.
That's been a long while.
But that was horrible racing conditions.
That was rough.
Now, like if I went out there and it was like that, I think I'd turn around and go home. I don't think I'd do it.
Matter of fact, I think I knew Laura then though.
Oh.
Because of Wednesday nights. She ran Wednesday nights.
Oh, and we probably rode out there together, I'll bet.
Probably.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, super happy to get that in, and review coming on the shoes that you can see in the background for those that are watching. But today's episode, we have some super exciting stuff to talk about.
It's not new news.
It's not new.
Because we talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
We have this want.
But we are actually planting a flag saying, we are doing it. We're actually, Mitch was texting with some people prior to hitting record to set up some meetings and get this ball fully rolling. And so we are officially announcing our race that we are going to
Makes me nervous because we got to get off our butts.
We do have to get off our butts a little bit, but you know what? Well, I don't want to say if nobody shows up, but if 50 people show up and we have fun, I'm happy with it.
Well, that's our really go-to anyway, because it's not about, like, I think about that too, is if we have some of our friends helping us out, put on the race at the same time, people that know what they're doing, that have been part of this for a long time, I think we'll have fun putting it on. I think it'll be busy, but we'll have fun, like as part of
100%.
Yeah. So putting it together, kind of figuring out what we want to do. So we've been talking a lot about just a few logistics and things that we have to put together.
And one of those things that we have to put together, this is kind of a twofold thing. One of the things we have to put together is a website.
Right.
And we have talked about in the past, there are certain things.
Yeah. There are certain websites, and I've been going through it this week. I hate the information that's on there. It is not clear.
They don't provide enough or clear enough information on the homepage. Like if you want to put a ton of detail in the background, that's fine.
I don't mind links. I don't mind if it says like, hey, you're going to get this information, travel. You're going to get everything you need to know about travel here, or everything you need to know about lodging here. You can do a list. You can do all that stuff. And then there can be more details
in that.
Because you can't make your homepage too busy.
Yeah.
You have to be careful of that too.
Yep.
But when I click on, I should clearly see travel. All the places, what it's going to take to get here, lodging, what do I have here?
Yeah,
like where's and I want the lodging to coincide with the actual address of where the race is, and if the packet pickup is in a different place, clearly show that they're two different things. Or if you have shuttles, show me that you have shuttles and what the times are for that. What time I need to be there, stuff like that.
Yeah, so we're going to do this in a couple of ways. Number one is we're going to talk about the race a little bit, and we're going to talk about what will be on the website, front and center, the front page.
My face, front and center, is what's going to be there.
Mitch's face will be there. You can quickly click a link to get away from that.
And it'll be Lewis's face.
It'll be this, yeah.
You're not going to be happy wherever you go.
Wherever you go, yeah. But so we thought, you know what? These are the things we want to see at a bare minimum on the front page. I'm just going to rattle through them really quick. Distance and the format of the race. Date and start times of the race. Yep. And as you're listening to this, you might be thinking, well, duh. Well, let me tell you something. We have went to a lot of race websites and went, when's the date of this? When is the date of this race? Why can't I find the date?
That's
the date.
When I threw that out to you, I said, you know, like one of my favorite websites to find races is Running in the USA. And sometimes it gives you more information on their page than it does in the website. It's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Like I click in there, I'm like, what the heck? What did I get into?
Yeah. Yeah. One that I quickly pulled up as we were sitting here, I went, this website, man, websites are, I want to be careful because websites can be super easy, right? The way that they, nowadays you can set up a website, it might not look the best. Matter of fact, it'll look kind of cheesy.
No, ours isn't.
No. But I'm saying it can look really cheesy. Use like some of those free things.
Yeah, but if it's simple, it's simple.
But it's simple, and you can easily put the date. You wouldn't believe like how many races you cannot find the date. It's dumb. It just
or try to find the race start address.
Yeah. So let me continue with our front page. So we'll have distance and format options. We're gonna have the date and start time.
Even
location.
a clock down counter like that shows. I like that too.
Yeah, that's a nice touch. The location, a link to the course map and the terrain. We'll have an explanation of the terrain. And then
train or terrain?
Terrain. Yeah. No trains on our race.
Hopefully. But that could be.
You did a race. Didn't you do a race that you had to stop for a train?
No, I've heard of that.
I think Brian has.
But we did that 50K where we ran on the train tracks.
Yes, that was miserable. Twice. Because it was a 2-looper. That was awful. You couldn't run to the side of it. It sucked. You couldn't run.
No.
Because it wasn't the nice, like, crushed gravel below. No. It was giant, like,
so you
rocks.
had to run on the ties.
You actually had to run on the ties.
Oh, yeah.
You do, like, quick step, and then you try to long step.
Somebody was running next to me, and they jumped down, and they ran on the next
all the way
to
down?
and they beat me.
I'm
still mad about that.
So no trains, but we will give you the terrain. The closest hotels / lodging options and closest airports. And then one other thing that we will make sure, like for us, but what we think should be on the front is race day / morning specific instructions, super bolded. So if there's anything like special, like, hey, you can't drive to within 20 minutes of the start, so you're going to have to take a shuttle. That's a pretty important piece of information to have.
Yeah, it is.
And that should be
might want to get there.
Super bolded in the front, right?
Yep.
So things like that. And it's amazing how many races we've done where you dig a little bit and you're like, whoa, I didn't know you had to do this.
Right.
Oh, this would have been nice to know up front, or this should be way up front, because there's people that are going to miss this detail.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's amazing to me. Like, I'm trying to think of the terminology that we use at work.
Ridiculous?
No,
frustrating?
It's just like when like you would look at it this way. The locals know everything about this race.
Oh.
It's basic. It's like basic information that everybody knows, but it's not on the website. So if somebody's traveling, no, you dummy, we do this all the time.
Yeah.
Don't you think you should write that down?
Yeah. Yeah. Anything that you inherently know because you're from the area, you should probably share that.
I know what it is. Tribal knowledge.
Oh,
we use that terminology at work all the time because
Yeah.
it's just an assumed knowledge
Yep.
that is not written down anywhere. And we come in and say, no, that's not okay. So I feel the same way. It's like, it's a local race, but there could be somebody coming in that's trying to run 50 states.
Yeah.
That has no idea where anything is.
Right.
You know,
right,
and
true.
another one too, even local restaurants. What's close?
Yeah, that's true. What's was going to say what's good, but that's subjective.
That is subjective.
McDonald's.
Cheeseburger for dessert.
Hey, to me, that's good.
Yeah.
To Brian, he wants to know what time that McDonald's opens.
Right.
So if he can get his egg sandwich in the morning.
Yeah.
So anyway, those are just some things we're like, and again, as you're hearing this, you're like, well, yeah, of course, that seems very basic, but it is not on.
I think I just ran
websites.
my 168th marathon or further. I'm well over 200 races. It's amazing.
How many of those?
How many have
68 probably?
Like I think about this one too. Crater Lake was one of the most beautiful courses I've ever run. Go to the Crater Lake website sometime.
Not the best.
And try to figure out what the hell is going on there.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a little bit of a bummer, especially with a nice race where you're like, man, people need to come and do this race, but you're thinking, oh, when they go to the website, it's hard to find the information you need though.
Yeah, and even signing up for that race was ridiculous.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy, but one of the most beautiful courses I've ever run.
It's a bummer. They need help in those areas. So let's dive into a little bit of the race. We don't have a lot of details yet, but we have kind of committed to a couple of things, which I think is really exciting. Number one, the distances. Let's talk about the distance.
400 meters.
We are going to do sprints, 400 meters and under. It's going to be held at a track.
Yep.
No, we're not going to do that. We are going, I would say we're 90% sure it'll be a loop course.
Yeah.
And the loop will be 5K.
Yeah.
This is our desire.
Right.
And we're really going to work towards this.
And we, depending on, because we want to be on this end of town, Zeeland, Hudsonville, because we want to, there's so much going on in Grand Rapids. We want to be this way.
Yep.
And it depends on what we find as far as a course, because we don't necessarily want to be on the road.
Definitely don't. Yeah.
Because of the time of year that we're talking about too. And traffic just changes things. When you have to have police, it changes things. There's so much there. So we're thinking a loop course, but that's subject to change. We don't know.
Yeah. So that would be our goal. These are our desires we're working towards. So we want to do a 5K loop. And the distances right now that we're tossing around are 5K, 10K, and a 25K race.
Because we want to be bigger than Riverbank Run.
Yeah.
Not Fifth Third, Riverbank.
Yeah, we don't want to take them on. This will be the nice compliment in the fall for
we know better. Yeah. Right.
For Riverbank Run. But this is we love the idea of loop, and we love the idea of another 25K in town.
Right.
That is exciting. I think that is super exciting.
Yeah.
So, and we're tossing around other distances within. So there's obviously when you do a 5K loop, you can do 5, 10, 15, and 20. Tossing around those potential ideas. As we're discussing and we start talking to some others that we're going to be planning with, we'll land that. But definitely 5, 10, and 25.
But we, and again, we throw this out there. We'd love to hear from people to say, what's your thoughts on that? Like for me, I always think I want to run at least a marathon. But when we're talking about it, and especially this first one, maybe we talk about bigger distances at some point, but
yeah, we do want to do bigger distances. We've talked about that already, and that'll be a completely different format of a race, which I'm excited for that too. I would love to do that for our first one, but on the other hand, I want our first one to be something that we can really kind of scale everything down and keep as simple as possible.
And we want to be able to support it the best way we can, especially as you're starting out. I don't think it should be, just because it's easy to support. I'm not a fan of that, but I think that, in fact, would serve runners.
The runners the best.
The best, especially when you're first starting out, to keep it in a compact area to where you can pay attention to what's going on and make sure it's safe.
Yeah.
And make sure that everybody gets what they need as far as that goes.
Yeah.
Because one of our favorite races that we did was a 1 mile loop, and we set up our own aid station.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a ton of fun.
But
Yeah,
there's
I wish
a place,
there was.
there's a place for that, and I love big courses where it's just one big loop too. But
Yeah.
there's a place for both.
Yeah, and it's funny because I was thinking yesterday, kind of along the same lines, this year, and I think mentally you can go in different places and spaces. I've been doing a lot of loop courses this this training cycle, and yesterday I went out my run and I did an out and back because I wanted simple. Like for whatever reason in my head, I just thought this takes the load off a little bit. It was a 6-mile run, and I went out 3 and back 3 instead of just a loop 3. But I don't know what it is. It's just in my head. And so I can understand.
I get that. The other side of it though, is like if we did out and backs, the traffic. So you
Yeah, totally. I'm just talking from a mindset, like different spaces. You can get in different spaces. So we totally get that. And that's where like the circular logic, that was a blast. Like I would have never thought in a million years a 1-mile loop course would be any fun.
Because I brought Coke.
There was Coke. And it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing to we almost walked that entire loop, 1-mile loop.
So here's the other thing I put on there, and we're going to have to put it on the website. We have pie.
Yeah. We'll have to have pie. Let's talk about date and, well, we don't have start times yet, but let's talk about date and why. One of the reasons we will have pie.
Yeah, because it's going to be the day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah. It'll be a bunch of leftover pieces of pie.
Well, hopefully it's not leftover, but dang. We could go to Costco and buy about 50 of those pies.
It's going to be BYOP. Bring your own pie to share. BYOPTS.
I like that idea, actually.
But yeah, we are planning the day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
A ton of people have that day off.
Not everybody likes to shop.
Not everybody likes to shop.
I hate to shop. I'd rather run.
And a ton of people want to get out and get a run in.
Yeah.
So the planned date for 2024 is November 29th.
And I'm even thinking if we stay off the roads, we can do a later start time. So you sleep in a little bit and then you can run,
We'll get all those fair weather runners.
Yeah. We'll get more people like Lewis to show up, get us sleep in.
Yeah. So yeah, November 29th, times TBD. We're not 100% sure, obviously. Those are things that we are going to be working out over the course of the next, I don't know, month and a half, I would say, where we can land some of this.
I am setting up our first meeting for March 2.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that everybody can make it there. I think Terrence got back with me and said that works because he's going to be out of town until like the 28th or something.
Traveling a little bit. So that'll that'll be our date. Again, we haven't thought through like all the starts, but anyway, course obviously will be to be determined. We're not 100% sure. We've tossed around a couple of ideas, but yeah, anyway, looking for roughly a 5K loop. And if you have any ideas, please do reach out. In the Hudsonville to Holland, I would say even area, anywhere along that strip. If you have good ideas, any ideas, I should say, send them to us and we'll determine if they're good or not.
Yeah, you might think they're good. We might think they suck.
Yeah. Or we might think it's amazing.
Right. There's that.
We'll tell you thank you either way.
Risk reward. Well, Lewis will tell you thank you.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the truth. I
won't let Mitch respond. I will respond.
People have come to expect that out of me.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all the information we have right now. Date, distance, and format, and more to come. We have a few people we're reaching out to just be a part of a race committee and help us to put together a race that we think will, complement runners and, give them a great experience, whether it's your first race or your 169th race, and it'll be something different. We definitely want it to be a laid back, I don't want to say party atmosphere, but a fun type of atmosphere like that.
However you want to look at that, like we talked about the parties in the back or the parties on a 5K course, because you'll see people more often.
Yeah.
And I want to create an environment where you hang out afterwards.
Yeah.
There's a lot of logistics because you don't know what the weather is going to be like after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
It could be warm. It could be really cold.
A foot of snow.
So we'll have to figure out stuff like that. So we might have to.
So we're excited about it. I hope those listening are excited about it and wanting to run it. So free up your calendars. This is one of those things that we've talked about and toyed around with for a couple of years, honestly, at least. I wanted to do a race probably for like close to 5+ years.
I wanted to do a race since Clint put together that midnight run. I still want to do that. I want to do something like that at some point, but
yeah, a night race. We did talk about that a fair amount.
Yeah,
as
I think
well.
That'd be a blast.
Logistics, again, we want to try to be simplified.
We want to walk before we run.
Yeah. Yeah, we want to do our 5K before our marathon.
Yeah.
Or a 10K, but yeah.
I think it was me. My progression was 10K marathon.
Yeah. Well, I think 25K would be more like starting with a 10K.
Yeah, I think that's, if you run a half, you can run a 25K.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you run a 5K, you can do a 25K.
Easy. Eventually. Yeah.
Easy progression.
Yeah.
Suck it up.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. If you have any ideas, if you're listening to this and you're like, hey, I have an idea for blah, 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 something, whatever, race, whatever, location, whatever. If you know somebody that wants to help sponsor the race,
oh yeah,
let us know. Obviously, races aren't free. We are going to be having to reach out to people to help to sponsor it. So again, we can provide
one of the things I've learned from talking to Terrence, entries do not pay for a race. No. There's got to be money because you do not, just so you know, when you run a race, your entry, everybody's entries is not enough to pay for that race. There is always sponsors that cover a lot of that cost because you got to think about stuff like porta-johns. You got to, if you're closing roads, you got
permits.
You got permits.
And you think, well, it's a permit for a road. We're not on the road, but there's permits for everything. Yeah. Permits for parks, permits for everything.
You have to buy water.
You got to get insurance.
You got to pay. You got to have food out there.
Yeah.
If it's longer than a 5K.
Yeah.
You got to have stuff like that. And that's why I liked your idea about bring your own pie.
Yeah, bring your own pie to share. So you got to have at least 2 pieces, one for you and one for somebody else. No, it is something that we want to have fun with. And so pie is invited. Maybe if you know somebody that makes pies,
oh yeah,
they can help us to supply the pies for the race.
Yeah.
And we don't have a name for this race yet.
I just thought of another thing. If you know somebody that makes like good barbecue,
yeah,
that'll be good at an aid station. I mean, if I'm not running, I'll eat it.
Heck yeah, we ain't running. We're gonna be working it.
We're eating.
So we're eating. But yeah, that's what we wanted to talk about. Is number one, what a race website should have because so many do not have it, and then we also wanted to kind of just officially announce we are putting this together for November 29th. A 5K, 10K, 25K, possibly other distances to come, and more to come, location and all of that. But we want to have fun. We want to create a fun environment for people. So be looking for that and a ton of more information on that. And reviews on shoes. We got that coming as well.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were going to go into it now.
No.
Because I know how,
No,
can't help yourself.
We'll have a review on shoes specific podcast coming where Mitch will review a pair of shoes, what he likes, what he doesn't like, and then I'll review a pair of shoes. I like, what I don't like.
I know that I don't like because there's not enough, bling on those shoes yet. Like, I think you need sparkles.
No, I like them as they are.
The
only bling you need is that right there.
Yeah, sure.
Stride Pod. You have one, right? Do you use it?
I do. I haven't been using it lately.
Oh, my goodness.
Got lazy.
Yeah. Well, that is going to wrap this week's episode. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out on YouTube. And with that, that's going to wrap up this week's episode of the I Don't Know Running podcast. Be sure to tune in next time as we share more about what we just don't know.
Until then, happy running, and we're hungry, so let's go
get fish.
Yeah.